4-3 to begin this season. Not exactly the ideal start in the aftermath of last year's Super Bowl disappointments. That said, we're still in a pretty good spot. Thankfully, of course, I managed to... people told me, but I didn't know where to go. Thankfully, I managed to figure out on the fly how to avoid the whole no fund issue, so we know this won't be our final season. But it is going to be very interesting to see how this plays out, how this team performs, now that there's at least a little bit of doubt in my mind over just how good we're going to prove to be. Because genuinely, I'm not sure. I can't say with certainty that this is going to be a great year for us. I'd like to think it would. I'd like to think we'd be back in the Super Bowl, actually, because... let's be honest, we've seen the core of this team. Jesus Christ, Aaron Frost is going to be a monster. We've seen the core of this team. We know how good they are, and we should be good to go, and we should be right back in the Super Bowl mix next year. Again, in terms of re-signing players, we're going to pretty much hold off until the end of the year. The big question is Myles Jack, and whether or not he comes back. There are, of course, some others that we have to worry about there a little bit further down the road. Although, we still need to get these signings done now. So Terrell Godfrey is the first big-time contract that I want to worry about. It's going to be an expensive deal, but it's going to be worth it. $89.4 million to sign him up for the next 6 years. Will that go through? Yes, it will. So Terrell Godfrey goes nowhere. Eduardo Roman, I'm also going to be looking at about a 6-year deal just to lock him up long-term, $67 million. Roman goes nowhere. Ricky Sparks, obviously going nowhere. What a player he has been for us. See if we can lock him up for the next 5 years. All right, he's going to want a little bit more money. That's fine. And Josh Shields is not quite ready yet. That'll be week 11, so 2 weeks from now. But a good bit of business out of the way early. We take on the 1-6 Miami Dolphins. And what's not as big of a mismatch as I thought it would be in terms of the overall, but we should still win this game with relative ease. Let's see what happens, of course, in the interest of making sure at the next episode, the playoff episode, we will continue to sim from the menu. And we do beat Miami. Not an overly convincing win, but a 24-16 victory. That moves us 2 games above 500 as Josh Vance gets an upgrade point. He is now a 73. +2 to the finesse moves for the 22-year-old rookie. Normal dev pattern for him, though, which is a bit disappointing. Our funds are down again. We'll see how I handle that as far as maybe kind of sort of cheating a little bit. I don't know. Is it cheating, technically, if I just add a bit more? It might be. At the end of the day, it's like, okay, I couldn't let go of Dawson. I guess I should have to pay the price with the bonus money, but I don't know. Let me know what you think. I mean, especially if it's like, okay, well, we can just add a little bit of money to make sure we keep Myles Jack. Is that cheating? Maybe. I mean, we still have to worry about the cap. So, at the end of the day, it's just it's not like I'm negotiating it all in bonus money and essentially kind of cheesing the cap that way. Regardless, quick bit of scouting before we take on the 3-5 Panthers. Continue to take a look at our corner options in the upcoming draft. Didn't mean to take a look at him because he's terrible. Jarrad McGill. Hey, if your name's Jared and your parents spelled it that way, I'm not making fun of you. I'm just saying they tried to be unique for no reason. That really wasn't necessary. They just could have spelled it the normal way. That's right. There's a normal way. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Anyway, can we beat the Panthers is the next question. In terms of overall, Jesus Christmas. So this should be a massacre. I know they still have McCaffrey and Kuechly, but this should be a massacre, which means I am extremely concerned that we're about to lose this game. And we did. 21-10, despite one of the biggest overall discrepancies I have ever seen, we lose. That is incredibly frustrating. So that's just wonderful. Parrish win Makes it up to an 81. Not bad for the 24-year-old rookie. Harvey Pemberton is now up to an 80 overall. Very good. One of the few wideouts that we selected that I don't regret selecting. Gets in and out elite as an ability. Solomon Crosby has also improved. He's now a scheme fit at least. He doesn't go up in overall. Still decent though. +3 release. And Dudley Mayo. Dudley Mayo up to a 71. I cannot believe that we just lost to the Panthers. Oh, Carolina, you're killing me. So we get to take on the 4 and 5 Browns. I feel like I called them the Florida Panthers a second ago, which obviously would be a Freudian slip. And if I didn't, then hey, I'm apologizing for no reason. So that's fun. Let's see what happens here amongst all of these safeties. Chris Davis is pretty decent. Kendall Blaylock also looking okay. Tyrone Bright also looking like a bit of a beast. There are no strong safeties whatsoever. That is hilarious. Although Raphael Odin out of Vanderbilt at A- hit power looking pretty nice. So we take on the Browns. We really do need a win here. Not as big of a difference. They still have some X factors, of course. That's not surprising. Let's take a look at the standings. We're 1 game back of the Bills, but we really can't afford to slip up any more than we have already. Already 4 losses on the season. Week 11, this needs to be a win, and it is. It's a gigantic victory, a statement win, 42-14 over the Browns. That sets us up against the Falcons in Week 12. The 9-1 Atlanta Falcons. So, tough matchup ahead. As Oliver Sheffield is up to a 75. He played better than a 75 in the few moments I actually got to control this team. Jaquan Spears up to a 75. Damn shame he just, that dev pattern's never really gone up for him. And then Connor Wakefield. We'll make him better as a run stopper. Just get him up to a 75 overall. Better way to go for now for the 21-year-old star dev rookie. We'll take a quick look at the scouting options, and we'll go back and double-check contracts. I think I might just get that Miles Jack deal out of the way. And in terms of who we want to scout next, I mean, quarterback-wise, we're good. I know what happened in the playoffs, but still, we're good. Running back-wise, I think we're good, obviously. I mean, I could waste points on scouting a fullback. Wideout-wise, it might not necessarily hurt. I guess we'll change up our focus to those on the offensive side of things. So, Sonino, you got to go. And you know what? I actually am going to bring in this running back scout because, for some reason, I just feel like scouting fullbacks. Maybe there's a superstar fullback. I want the next Christian Okoye, damn it. Give me Mike Allstott, reincarnate. Something. Damn it. There's a couple of decent options. James Newton could be an interesting one as a blocking first option. I think we will take a look at wide receiver. It's a little bit tough to say what direction we should go because, again, quarterback-wise, we're fine. Running back-wise, we're fine. Good. Fredrickson's not bad. Another wideout wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It really wouldn't be. So I think that's where we'll focus next. Might even try to find another tight end. Obviously, earlier in this series, we had kind of the 1-2 punch at tight end. Money-wise, it didn't make much sense to maintain that. Obviously, I can't help it. Being a Patriots fan, now obviously mentioning one of these guys, it's not an ideal thing to do because who gives a fuck how good he was at football. But, as a Patriots fan, it's like, okay, you see what Gronk and Hernandez did, and it's like, boy, I wish Madden worked the same way because I really like to have those kind of 1-2 punches in terms of just 2 dominant tight end options, but not looking likely. Arthur Hutton. I was going to say Hatton. It's not. Arthur Hutton. Physical type, but actually, man, that guy might be a monster. He's 6'3", too. That guy could be great. Let's take a look here money-wise. So we know we're not going to bring back Desmond Trufant. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to... Yeah, it's not going to push him to the back of the line, so it doesn't really matter. Preston Brown, even Isaiah Collins, Isaiah Collins isn't a bad option for us, though. How much does he want? You know, I don't know. I'm gonna keep Isaiah Collins. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stumble and stammer over my words and be totally embarrassed. I'm gonna keep Isaiah Collins. Maybe it's because I drafted him, but he's been a decent depth option for us. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I can't help it. He's a decent depth option. That way I don't got to worry about signing linebackers every damn year, too. Everybody else. Jim Peters. I think Jim Peters was just a random depth signing for me this year, but I'm still going to sign him. Why not? That way I don't have to worry about a depth option on the O-line ever again. Greg Wilson was a depth signing this year. Bobby Evans. Trey Rucker. Man, that 88 tackling is intriguing. That really is. I think I might bring him back, too. I know I should be worrying about Miles Jack, and don't worry, I will. Greg Wilson's fast as hell. I think we'll let go of Rucker. That's fine. Graves is going to want a big-time contract. We signed him as our backup for this season. Luke Homan as our kicker. Look to bring him back for the next year unless a better option becomes available. And then we get into the Ricky Sparks contract. And no wonder why he rejected, because there was like no signing bonus there. So what if I bump the... Is that good enough, I wonder? Nope, he wants even more money. Okay, and what about Josh Shields? 5-year deal would be perfect, Josh. What do you think? He also wants more money. So maybe we'll focus on those at the end of the year. Because, again, money-wise, we might kind of need to artificially boost up our budget. The Falcons are only a 76-rated team. This should be us handing them their second loss of the year. I'd like to think that's going to be the case. It's not. We only put up 3 points against Atlanta. We're now 2 games back of the Bills. This team is drastically underperforming this season. There is no other way to put it. We are absolutely buckling under the pressure. I guess I should be thankful that we're doing that before we make it to the Super Bowl. But obviously it's frustrating and concerning to see a team of this caliber struggle this much, as Anthony Yoder, who of course replaced McIntyre, is up to a 79 at 21 years old despite the normal dev pattern. Oh boy, what are we going to do? Yeah, fund-wise we're pretty low. I don't think we're going to be able to do really anything else re-sign-wise until the end of the season, or at least until we make that decision as far as how we are going to handle things. I cannot believe we were just embarrassed like that. That is very rough. It's a tough pill to swallow. So looking ahead, we host the 3-8 Steelers. A loss here would be so extremely detrimental to our playoff hopes. I mean, I can't understate that. Unfortunately, that's just the situation at hand. This team is too damn good to not make the playoffs. This team has to make the playoffs, especially that defense. It's almost unfathomable that we wouldn't make it. We are on the best offensive scheme fit, and I'm pretty sure... Yeah, we're also on the best defensive scheme fit as well. I mean, this team's better than this. It's the only way to put it. That is the only way to put it. Let's see what happens here. The Steelers, poor record, decent overall in comparison to some of the other teams that we've played recently. We need a win. Otherwise, we're back to 500, which is a nightmare scenario. But that is our current reality. 27-21 loss. We have 4 games left this season. We're currently at 500. We are in extreme danger of missing the playoffs. It could happen. That is astonishing. I can't believe this. How is this team, with this much talent, struggling this badly? We get a ton of upgrade points, which might be too little too late. Terrell Godfrey up to an 88, an absolute monster of a corner, just 24 years old, with the X Factor, reinforcement, and unfakeable. If he hits a 90, which he will, he'll get that other ability slot. Sammy Kirby, also a beast. I just need to go for the higher overall rather than the scheme fit. He's up to an 85. The Kirby's +4 pursuit. Jesus Christ, he's 22. It's amazing how freaking good he is. And then we have Taylor Spencer, who's up to an 81. Not quite Sony Michel, but I still think that was the right time to move on from Sony. Then Ian Christensen and Bobby Evans, I don't really care how they improve. Again, the renegotiations we'll worry about towards the end of the year, because I need to know from you guys if I'm allowed to just bump that up a little bit. In the meantime, what the hell are we going to do? What the hell are we going to do? I'm going to look at these guys down here because I don't really care if I quote-unquote waste points. It's not a big deal to me. Might as well just see what we have here. That's it for our scouting points this week, which is fine. We take on the 6-6 Nollan Saints. I am just going to auto-reorder the depth chart to make sure that the top players are in at all times. I can't worry about player development this season. We need the best people for the job in this lineup at every possible moment. Screw player development at this point. We have a pretty big overall advantage. We'll see whether or not that matters ultimately. We need a win, or these final 3 games are going to be very, very scary. Can we beat the Saints down the Superdome? We do. 34-31. Pushes us back up to 7, or, pushes us back up, game over. We're at 7-6. N'Keal Harry is up to a, frankly, ridiculous 89 overall at 27 years old. The rest of you, I don't really care how that goes down. Weekly award-wise, big game for Miles Jack. 7 tackles, a sack, and an interception. Very, very good as we beat Brissett and the Saints. Brissett was a player of the week, despite being on the losing end. I'm going to go back to the depth chart. Same thing. I'm just going to auto-reorder it, make sure the best, the highest-rated players are in at all times. And hopefully that continues to work for us. As we'll change the approach here. Actually, we won't change the approach. Let's just keep going. See what's out there for wide receivers, even though we know most of them are going to be trash bags. And they are. Let's see what we can find for a tight end option next before we take on the relatively decent Cincinnati Bengals. As Chris Dunbar will be fired. Tight end specialty Moose. The Moose is back. We'll see what he can find for us. I just hope to God we win this next game. Please, please, please. Do not botch it. I'm begging you. Boy, all of these options suck, but that's okay. That's okay. In terms of overall, not as if it's mattered, we have the advantage on Cincy. They have a quarterback with freight train. That's always good. Khalil Mack as well. They have a very interesting team with a pretty damn good record. I actually want to take a look at their top options because, again, it looks like they have a ridiculous team. They have Joe Mixon, Khalil Mack at 34, Jesse Bates, Tyler Boyd, a superstar, and Wallace. And this quarterback, 23-year-old, he's an 80 overall, Brian Green. So, 87 throw on the run, that makes sense. 87 speed, Jesus. That is a very interesting player. Leapfrog, spin cycle, and homer. Damn. This could be rough. He's not the highest rated quarterback in the world, but he's a very interesting option for them. Can we beat the 10-3 Bengals, or will we fall back to 500 with just 2 weeks to go in the season? We get crushed by Cincy, and we legit might miss the playoffs. And if we do, I don't know what the next step is. Because this team missing the playoffs, I mean, you can't even say, like, oh, fire the coach. Like, we can't, because there's just the dev pattern increases. You know, the extra training boost, those are just far too valuable. They're maxed out on this coach, so that wouldn't make sense. Unbelievable. Miles Jack had 17 tackles. Good God. We play the 8-6 Bucks this week before taking on the Bills, who I am confident in thinking have clinched the division title for the first time in a long time that we have slipped up, unfortunately. As, if I remember correctly, there was not a single O-line scout, so I didn't mean to look at that guy. I'm going to sit here and burn points because, again, for the most part, in theory, we're fine. The Bills have won the division. Unless we manage to win both games, actually. We have the tiebreaker on them, so we need them to lose and we need to beat them next week. In terms of the AFC, we're right in the mix, but if we slip, we're out. This needs to be a win against the Bucks, or it's all on the line in Week 17. Decent advantage over Tampa, but no guarantees here. What's it going to be looking like? What's the scenario heading into the final week of the season? We absolutely smoke the Buccaneers 42-0. The Bills lost. The dream is alive for another division title. It's a Christmas miracle. And Taylor Spencer's done for the season. Shit. We have hope, but Taylor Spencer's done for the season. Damn it. We're going to bring on Malachi Allen because we might as well. I have the injury management set to auto just in case, it's like, oh, okay, a guy's going to be on the AI. So the AI said, yeah, based on time, he's done. So we do lose our starting running back for the rest of the season, but if we beat the Bills on the road in Week 17, we have somehow, some way, won a division title despite drastically underperforming throughout this entire season. Kai Minor is going to be an unbelievable O-lineman in this league. We have upgrades. James Landry is first, as he is up to a ridiculous 87 overall. Very, very good indeed for the 26-year-old. 5 years already for him in the league. Harvey Pemberton makes it to an 81 overall. Love the surname Pemberton. And Solomon Crosby improves again. He is up to a decent enough 78 overall. And then, of course, Orlando Blanton was a random depth signing, so we'll just have the AI handle that for us. It all comes down to this. We win, we're in, because we win the division title. That's what it comes down to. If we lose, there's still a decent chance we'll make it, potentially. If we lose, my God, there's so many teams at 7-8. If we lose, we could technically still make it. This is a playoff game. Absolutely. That's the only way to look at this. This is a playoff game. We have to win. We have to win. Again, this team is way too good to fall short now. This has to be a win. Let's see what the hell happens. We're jumping into it because, again, it might as well be a playoff game. For the love of God, if we don't win, it would be one of, in terms of back-to-back seasons worth of just botching it. We botched it in the Super Bowl. If we follow that up by missing the playoffs entirely, where do you go from there? Genuinely, like, where do you go from there? You know, you can't think like, oh, well, the core is old. Like, no. This team's prime. Chase Dawson's had a phenomenal season. 4,100 yards, 40 touchdowns, only 7 picks. It has to be the defense. Obviously, it's slipping up, but this has to be a win. Please. Please, please, please. This has to be a win. Through the first quarter we go. We take a 7-0 lead. Those were the only points scored through the first 15 minutes. Big plays from Oliver Sheffield, and he ends up getting the touchdown from the 2. 7-0 early on for the Patriots. We'll go to the half. Bills are on the board with a field goal. Can they respond as both teams struggling? We end up putting up points. They get a late field goal at the death, but we're up 14-6 at the half. As ultimately, Coco Ivy with an interception. That led to nothing. Ultimately, it was a 41-yard touchdown pass to Solomon Crosby. They hit a 54-yarder to keep themselves within striking distance. Through the third we go. We don't do anything on the opening possession. Follow-up possession, though, we do strike. It's 21-6. We are 15 minutes away from somehow, some way, making this work for us and winning a division title when we simply did not deserve to. It's another rushing touchdown for Oliver Sheffield. Can we hold on? So we'll see what happens here. At Oliver, 15-yard penalty. Can we cap off this drive is the question. Sheffield picks up 4, 3rd and 9. Big first down for Baldwin. And we're going to see here if we can cap off this drive. Empty backfield for Dawson from the 16. He is looking, throws over the middle. 2 different receivers went for it and ends up hitting the turf. That's a brutal drop. It looks like a receiver that came in from the left went for the ball that he shouldn't have, and he didn't even come up with it. Quick drop back for Dawson here. Throws out to the left. That's going to be caught. It's a pickup of 3. Clock's still ticking. It's 3rd and 7. Let's see what happens here. I mean, settling for the field goal isn't the worst case scenario. It'd be 24-6, but a touchdown here puts this game out of reach. Dawson throws. Touchdown, Patriots! The 10th touchdown on the season. Is that Pemberton? It's not Pemberton. I didn't even see who the hell that was. I don't even care. Thank God he caught the goddamn ball. It's Baldwin. I'll take it. The tight end getting the job done. And barring a miracle comeback from the Bills, we are somehow, some way going to steal away a division title on a tie-break scenario. It's 28-6. Homan hits the kick. And with 11:23 left, it's a 22-point lead for the Patriots. Let's see what the Bills can do on this follow-up drive. Scott with the kickoff. Here we go. Allen is sacked by Sammy Kirby. 2nd and 17. It's a 21-yard pickup for Taywan Taylor. Jesus. Godfrey knocks that one away. About 10 minutes left. Taywan Taylor, another reception. 3rd and 6. Are they going to be going for it here on 4th and 1? They are. Let's see what happens. Can we stop Allen and the Bills? This should be the game. Allen, quick throw is tipped down. Nearly intercepted. That should do it. The offense will hopefully be able to kill a lot of the clock here. They start in good field position in Bills territory at the 49. This game should be over. Sheffield loses yardage on the play, but we're killing the clock. He gets it right back. 3rd and 10 from the 49. He picks up 5. So not much doing there offensively, but we do kill a little bit of time off the clock. 7:18 remaining. And we'll see what they can do here. Savory Styles, the tight end, with a quick pickup. Taylor, another big reception. Clock's ticking, though. Allen throws it away on 1st. 2nd and 10. He's sacked by Lionel Hill. That brings up 3rd and 12, where they picked up the first down. We have the ball. What happened? Excuse me? What the hell happened? 4th and 12 to Taylor for... I guess there was a 4th down conversion that I just didn't interject in time to see. So, hey, we got the ball with 5 minutes left. Again, this game should be over. And somehow, some way, we're going to walk away with another division title here. That's crazy. Should see a field goal here or not. Sheffield got the first down. Never mind. We are looking good to go. Dawson threw the ball. That doesn't make any sense. And then he's sacked. 1:27 left on the clock, which there was a really weird time jump there, and Scott punts it. I don't know why he punted it from that distance. Maybe the lack of a solid kicker this year was an issue. Regardless, this game is over. 28-26, the Patriots snatch a division title away from the Bills in the final week of the season on the road. And now we get to look forward to the playoffs in the next episode, where all the pressure is right back on this team's shoulders. Lionel Hill, I'm just going to focus on making him better as a power rusher. I want him to have a higher overall as we head into the playoffs. The 23-year-old looking pretty damn good. Let's get the confirmation. We already know it, right? Oh, whoa, Bills are still ahead of us. Are we in the playoffs? So it's not showing that the Bills have it. I imagine all that shit talking and we didn't actually make it. Wild card round. We're in. We take on the Texans. We head down to Houston as the Bills actually still won the division title. I didn't think they would have. For me, it doesn't matter. We made the playoffs. I'm sure, it would have been nice to not have to worry about it. But at the end of the day, to not have to worry about the wild card round. Jesus Christ, the Bengals and Ravens. We're back in the playoffs. That's all that matters. We take on the 10-6 Texans. So Chargers made it as well. And then out of the NFC, Bears make it out of the North. Falcons and Bucks out of the South. East sees the Eagles make it. And from the West, Cardinals and the Seahawks. So in terms of total offensive points, we had the second most proficient offense in the league. The Chargers were insane. Our defense was bottom 5 in terms of points allowed. How we struggled this much, it's a friggin' enigma. It makes no sense whatsoever that this team was barely able to squeak into the playoffs. At the end of the day, though, maybe that little bit of an extra bit of adversity is just what we needed. Having to play that extra wild card game. Maybe that's what this team needed. I don't know. I'm trying to put a positive spin on it. At the end of the day, it absolutely sucks to have to play that extra game, but we have a chance at redeeming ourselves for last year's horrific failure. And again, this team on paper is tremendous. This should, this should go our way. The end goal is what you would expect it to be. Time will tell, though. So, quickly, as we're up to an 85, we are going to be taking a look at the stats for the rest of this episode. If that doesn't intrigue you or interest you, hey, I'll see you in the next one, I hope. Don't forget to leave a like on the video. That said, though, again, the question of am I allowed to bump up the funds or am I going to struggle to re-sign certain players here in the next phase? Let me know what you think. So, let's take a look at stats. The stats. Jason Garrett still employed. What are the odds? What are the odds? So total offensive yards gained, we were top 5. Total passing yards, we were second in the league. Total rushing yards, we were bottom 6 in the league, which doesn't surprise me. Points per game, second highest in the league. 42 passing touchdowns, second highest in the league. The Chargers were unreal. 18 rushing touchdowns, though, despite the lack of yardage, so very crucial part of our red zone offense. Total yards allowed, somewhere mid-table. Passing yards allowed, second most passing yards allowed. That's very problematic. We allowed the 5th fewest rushing yards this season. Points allowed, the 5th fewest. We had 37 sacks on the year, which wasn't way up there, but it was still relatively up there. And interceptions, we were not towards the top. We were actually towards the bottom. Individual player stats. Chase Dawson, 4,300 yards, 42 touchdowns, 8 picks. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Although, if he doesn't win a Super Bowl, I mean, that first ever Super Bowl appearance will forever haunt him and his legacy in this series. Taylor Spencer, of course, is down for the rest of the year, but Oliver Sheffield, as a power option, should be able to get the job done for us. Receiving-wise, it was Gerard Baldwin who led the way in terms of total yardage. Solomon Crosby was up there. N'Keal Harry with a slightly quieter season in terms of yardage, but he was in double digits with the touchdowns alongside Baldwin. Crosby with 9. Blocking-wise, Roman allowed double digits. I don't know if that's cause for changing up the O-line. Still decent. Defensively, in terms of total tackles, I mean, Miles Jack is so crucial. So crucial. But then again, that also goes to show that maybe they targeted him in the middle quite a bit. Tackles for loss. Kirby led the way. Tuck and Hill also up there. That D-line is tremendous. Quarterback sacks, 8 for Sammy Kirby on the year. Coco Ivey and Ben Monroe with 2 interceptions each. Homan was only called upon 9 times. Yeah, maybe the lack of a kicker really did us in. The AI just didn't trust Homan, I guess because of a lack of power. So maybe we just ended up punting a little bit more frequently than we would have otherwise. So maybe that right there could be the sole reason as to why we struggled. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, that's the one weak link of the team. Maybe the game did read it that way. Cam Newton, at 36 years old, probably just won MVP. I mean, Dawson was second in terms of yardage. He was second in terms of touchdowns. But Cam Newton was absolutely phenomenal. It's the only way to put it. Rushing-wise, Ezekiel Elliott, nearly 2,000 yards. Led the way with 16 touchdowns. Receiving-wise, the yardage leader was Philip Dorsett, which is insane. Reception king was Hunter Henry. And the touchdown king, Michael Thomas, with 19. Worst O-lineman in the league. Always fun to look. The best, I mean, you have quite a few, Ty, with only 1 sack allowed. Keyston Crawford, you suck. Defensively, Miles Jack led the way in terms of total tackles. Tackles for loss, it was J.J. Watt with 20. He's still a Texan. We'll have to deal with him the next episode. Myles Garrett, 21 sacks. Interception king was Marlon Humphrey. So that brings another regular season to a close. We take on the Texans in the wild card round. Will our struggles in the regular season come back to haunt us? That's the question.